Hello there, hoppers, and yes, I'm finally back. But Ash, where have you been all this time? You're probably not even asking. Well, with the lack of new Tiny Toons information that we were getting at the time, I decided to take a sabbatical from the Loonversity and instead explore the good old Jurassic franchise in person. But unfortunately for me, things didn't exactly go according to plan, and as a result, I got lost and eaten. Well, alright, okay, I wasn't actually eaten, but I could have been. I mean, my guide was, which why I got lost. But anyway, that's a story for another time, because we are no longer under the canvas of conifers. Instead, we are under the prestigious roof of the ACME Loonversity. And by the sounds of things, I've got quite a bit of catching up to do. Because it would seem that since I've been gone, the entire first season of this new show has actually been aired. So, I think it's about time I got up to speed and finally checked it out. Ah, perfect timing. Cheers, Bugs. Hey, did you want to watch it with me? So I guess you're still mad at me then? Anyway, on with the show. You know, I'm actually pretty excited. I mean, even if it's not the show I want it to be, how bad can it be?
We're tiny, we're toony, we're learning to be loony.
Well, I never thought I'd see the day.
We've never been apart. Except for when I was born 1 second earlier, and existing alone was agonizing. How could they do this to us? Don't they know twins come as a pair? We were
What? Come again?
Now the other one. Don't they know twins come as a pair? Twins come as a pair? Twins come as a pair? Twins come as a pair?
Yeah! What have they done? No! 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 No, no, no! No. I mean, have they lost their freaking minds? I mean, of all the things to change! This has got to be a joke. I mean, please, tell me this is a joke. I mean, surely they can't be serious. Where's the next episode? Hopefully it reveals it's all just some fucked up dimension or something.
Sis, I love you and I know you.
Nope, they've ruined it. It's over, you hear me? Over! They've killed it! They haven't just destroyed this new show, but they've spat on the grave of the original. How do I even begin to explain the insanity? This change that they have made is truly unforgivable. It's okay, Ash, just calm down. Half the audience probably don't even know the bloody hell you're talking about. So I think the best thing we can do is just breathe in, breathe out, and then start at the Looney Beginning. Literally. Okay then, so back in the year 1990, on September 14th, the very first episode of Tiny Toon Adventures was broadcast, with the debut episode being dubbed The Looney Beginning. This episode served as a fourth wall-breaking, fictional account of the creation of the show itself. As an audience, not only did we bear witness to the creation of the show's prime setting of Acme Acres, but we also see the creation of whom would become our main Tiny Toon protagonists, Buster and Babs Bunny.
No relation.
Yes, from the moment they are drawn into this world, they make it perfectly clear that despite sharing the same surname of Bunny, they are in fact not related to one another. Nor to Bugs, for that matter. Now, this is something that is repeated consistently throughout the show's entire run, serving as a sort of catchphrase, if you will, for the duo. And much like the Toons themselves, the phrase has become a big part of the show's foundation. If you know the show, you most definitely know the phrase. And how could you not? After all, it is mentioned a whole Buster Bunny bunch of times. So then, the question is, why is this even important? If this detail is as synonymous with the show as I claim it is, why do I feel the need to remind you of it here? Why do I feel the need to waste everyone's time talking about the origin and continued usage of something that is so blatantly obvious and well known by all? Or for the abridged version of the question, why am I even talking about this in the first place? Well, you see, dear hoppers, the reason I bring it up is because despite how glaringly obvious it may appear to us, despite how iconic the line is to the show itself, despite being mentioned every other bloody episode and clearly stated in the very first frickin' episode, it would seem that the new creative team behind this Looniversity show have all somehow managed to miss it. Because not only have they scrapped the catchphrase from this new show, but they have also decided to completely change Buster and Babs' relationship altogether. Buster is no longer Babs' friend and lover. He is now her friend and brother. Yes, brother. For some reason, despite being adamant throughout 3 seasons, 2 specials, and even a frickin' movie, they have now decided to in fact make them related. Twins even. Frickin' twins. They're twins! I mean, what the hell were they thinking? Since the dawn of time, they have been Buster and Babs Bunny, no relation. So why the hell would you suddenly make them related? Did the creators even watch a single bloody episode of the original show? I mean, how do you fuck it up this bad? Many episodes featured flirtatious moments, kisses, songs, even entire story subplots focusing on the duo as a romantic couple. And yet now, after all these years, they finally bring back the show, and what's the first thing they do?
Sis, I love you and I know you.
What kind of hillbilly, sweet home Alabama bullshit is this? Look, I know we live in an age of inclusion, but fuck. Okay, look, as bad as this all is, and trust me, it's bad, I should at least mention at this point, for those who don't know, that this new show is exactly that. A new show. It's a standalone reboot and not a continuation of the original. Thank fuck. So, although Buster and Babs being siblings now is certainly disturbing, at the very least it is not connected to the original show. And I'm sure that was the creators' rationale for this new change. They probably said, hey, it doesn't matter. This is a reimagining, a reboot. We can do what we like. Well, I would like the creators, to imagine this. You have kids who love this new show. They eat the cereal, collect the toys, wear the shirts, the socks, well, you get the idea. They're obsessed. Now, naturally, in this modern world, their obsession takes them to the World Wide Web. And it is here where they inevitably stumble onto the original show. Now, at first, they're enjoying this new experience. The characters, the location, it's all pretty much the same. Until it's not. Suddenly, this new experience sours in their mouths as their beloved Buster and Babs, of whom they've known at this point to be brother and sister, suddenly begin kissing and even dating each other. They are shocked, they are confused, and there is nothing they can do to take back the horrors of what they have just witnessed. They will never again be able to see their beloved characters in the same way. Instead, they are just more victims to the curious and sometimes dangerous web of knowledge. Frightful, isn't it? But not nearly as frightful as it will be for you having to explain this mess to your kids when they come to you shocked, confused and concerned, asking 20 rapid-fire questions on the whys and the hows. Well, I've got a how question for you now, creators. How in the hell are you going to explain it to them? Oh, it's a different universe. They're not exactly the same characters, even though they've got the same design and the same names and go to the same academy. Yeah, nothing. Mark my words, nothing will satisfy their questions, because at the end of the day, they will only see one thing: the same characters. I cannot even begin to fathom why such a change was even deemed necessary or even greenlit in the first place. It's unnecessarily confusing. It genuinely makes me feel weird. Because for all these years, I've known who Buster and Babs were. And the one thing they weren't is siblings. So the fact that they have gone and made such a drastic change for this new show, it conflicts with me. Big time. Much like it will undoubtedly conflict with any new TTL fan who choose to look back at the original show. And this is the thing. It doesn't serve either fans. This kind of change literally encourages division within the fan base. Rather than new fans and old fans alike getting together and enjoying this new show for what it is, regardless of its connection to the old show, instead we find ourselves potentially divided by such a controversial change that should never have been made. And there is no way this new creative team made such a drastic change and didn't expect fan backlash or division. They knew it. Of course they did. The sad truth is, they just didn't care. They didn't care about the loyal fan base. Even though without us original fans, the Tiny Toons brand overall would be worthless. Without us original fans, this new show wouldn't have even been commissioned in the first place. But what is worse is that they clearly did not care about the legacy of the original show or its characters, because if they did, they would never have approved such a needless, questionable, controversial, disgusting, and disrespectful change. And look, if this is where the bar of acceptance and change has been shifted to, then what the hell can we expect next? Maybe we'll get a show where Bugs and Lola are siblings. How about Mickey and Minnie, Homer and Marge, Peter and MJ, The King and I, Starsky and Hutch, you know? There are just some characters whose relationships just cannot be changed, reboot or otherwise. I mean, could you imagine a Superman film, for example, where Clark Kent and Lois Lane are suddenly siblings? No, because it wouldn't work. Now look, I don't follow the comics, so it really wouldn't surprise me if that story arc has actually been done at some point, but I would still argue that a mainstream audience would never be able to accept such a drastic change, because some relationships, like theirs, are cemented in our minds, etched into the stone of fictional history. And whether you follow Superman's conquests or not, we all know that deep down he is Clark Kent, and Clark Kent's lover is Lois Lane. Suddenly changing them to be siblings would not work. And that is the problem with this change. Because the fact is, whether there is a disconnect to previous works or not, there is never a disconnect in regards to our brain's persistence of vision. Because these characters look like Buster and Babs, live in the same setting as Buster and Babs, go to the same academy as Buster and Babs, and most importantly, they are called Buster and frickin' Babs. You see, to our naked eyes, we would never be able to see anything but the same individuals standing before us. So, when we suddenly go from this to this,
Sis, I love you and I know you.
it strikes a chord, and usually one that triggers a high-pitched scream. And to somehow make things even worse, this change makes absolutely zero sense from a marketing or promotional perspective. Because normally, when a pre-established media IP comes back or gets remade, the original show, film, or whatever gains new attention. Not only from returning nostalgic fans, but also from curious newcomers. And so naturally, it is a good marketing strategy to re-release, or in this case, re-broadcast the original show. Not only to promote the new incarnation, but also to retroactively promote the original. And it just makes sense to do this. After all, why even use a pre-established IP in the first place if you're not hoping to market on its previous successes? And if you can use it to not only gain success for your new works, but also add to the previous success it already had, well, why wouldn't you? It's a win-win situation. However, when it comes to Tiny Toons, it seems that this is a lose-lose situation. Because with this one dodgy decision, they have managed to not only piss off and alienate the entire pre-established fanbase, but they have also managed to completely kill any hopes of this new generation of fans going back and falling in love with the original show. Because how could they? Most of them probably aren't even going to know it exists. Because how can Warner Brothers promote the original when this new incarnation comes with such a weird twist in the tale? And if they do stumble across it themselves, like in my previous example, their reaction will probably be the same. Confusion. Disgust. It just baffles me. For all the valid reasons for not making such a clearly, stupidly bad decision, it was still approved. They actually greenlit this change. I mean, who the hell's running this show anyway? Banjo the Woodpile Possum? And Len Kirley can fuck right off and all. I mean, he actually had the nerve to say that honouring the original is at the top of our priorities. My frickin' arse crack! We've seen your priorities, and they're back sweet home Alabama. Now look, maybe their dilemma was that they just didn't want Buster and Babs to be an item this time around. And you know what? Despite everything I've said up to this point, even I would concede that they don't actually have to be a couple. Even Tom Ruegger, the creator of the original show, suggested this himself back in the day. And now that I think about it, even I never really wanted them to be together in the first place. I always had a much different pairing in mind.
I'd like to meet a sophisticated older guy with a special affinity for rabbits.
Let's see who we have for you.
In your dreams, pal.
But in all seriousness, even if I didn't want Buster and Babs together, I still never in a million years, or a billion years, or hell, not even in a sextillion years, would I have made them related. I mean, do they need to be a couple? No. But reboot or not, taking a pair of characters that were always known for being a couple and then suddenly bringing them back as brother and freaking sister, it just makes this whole new interpretation feel icky. And even Tom Ruger himself agrees. And look, even if we all could somehow look past this questionable change, it actually makes these toons a lot less original. Because before they were co-stars, they were good friends, and they were definitely not related. But now, they are related. Twins. Siblings. And let's face it, having siblings as the main stars of the show, well, it's not like we haven't seen that before, have we? And finally, on the subject of Animaniacs, I can't help but think of a certain cameo from a certain episode.
Okay, possums. Check. Bunnies.
Buster and Babs Bunny. No relation.
Let's hope not. It's a children's show.
Oh, if only we knew back then. If only we knew. Well, Hoppers, I think it's best that we leave it there for today. Sorry if I've been a bit rusty, but it is my first video for quite some time. Plus, emotions are running pretty high at the moment due to this subject matter. That being said, I still have plenty to discuss regarding the rest of the show, and it's not actually all negative. Just most of it. Plus, I still have plenty I want to discuss in regards to the original show, as well as some other topical pursuits. So, if you haven't already, then please could you hit that subscribe button for me. I really want this channel to grow and finally start getting somewhere, and I can only do that with all your support. So if you could help me out, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I have. Take care, Hoppers, and I'll hopefully see you next time.